Hello, Julian. Welcome back to Shanghai Symphony Orchestra. I'm so glad to see you back in Shanghai. Last time we met in the open air concert. Do you still remember the experience?
Of course, so many thousands of people, so many young people, and yeah, open airs have their own very special atmosphere, and I remember it was a really wonderful tour with the Vienna Symphony Orchestra, and Maestro Adam Fischer, and so yeah, the fondest memories every time I come to China. I love coming to China and especially to Shanghai.
So this time with Shanghai Symphony Orchestra, what would you bring to the audience?
I'll be performing a very, very dear piece to me, and maybe one of the, if not the most important violin concerto in some ways of the 20th century. It's the violin concerto of Alban Berg. I think it has a very, a very deep and meaningful role for us violinists, for sure. Maybe not popular, like Tchaikovsky or Brahms or Beethoven or Mendelssohn, but one of the deepest and most special violin concertos of the 20th century.
Can you tell us more about this piece? Because some of the audiences might never heard about Berg's violin concerto.
So it is his very last composition. He was already dying, and there was a few elements that influenced him to write the piece the way that he did. First of all, he had a very strong connection and friendship with Alma Mahler. And Alma Mahler had a child, a daughter, with Gropius, with this great architect. And Berg absolutely loved the child, this little girl. And tragically, the girl passed away at a very, very young age, as a teenager. So that was one of the elements, the loss of the child of his great friend Alma Mahler, who he adored. Then the fact that he was dying, he knew that his life is coming to an end. And third of all, it was just a few years before the beginning of the Second World War, and already him being Jewish, and the Jews being, you know, very repressed. He saw for him the world was coming to an end. It was somehow an apocalyptic feeling for him. These kind of three elements. And all of this made him compose this unbelievable masterpiece that is based on the 12-tone system, but it is not. It doesn't follow exactly the 12-tone system. It's complicated because mathematically speaking and intellectually speaking, and let's say architecturally speaking, it's an amazing invention. But in the very end, music needs to touch the soul. Music needs emotion, not just for the public, but also for us musicians. If we are not touched by the music, even the most intellectually and perfectly crafted composition, then we are not convinced, and then we cannot convince our public. And Berg was one of the few composers that used 12-tone technique, but still managed to make amazing, romantic, and touching music. Even though he was using the elements of the 12-tone technique. The last 9 minutes of the concerto, he dedicates to one of the most wonderful cantatas by Johann Sebastian Bach, which the meaning of the cantata is Es ist genug in German, which means it is enough. So it is complete. Es ist vollbracht. That means, please God, take me. I am ready to live the life on this planet. And it is so moving how he uses his language, the Berg It's still Alban Berg, but it's also very much Johann Sebastian Bach. So he mixes this Bach cantata, and it is the farewell, the goodbye to, let's say, life on earth for him. And that is a very, very special and most touching epilogue of this concerto. I haven't played this concerto in 12 years, so I'm so happy that when I started revisiting the concerto and the score, the piece in these last 12 years where I didn't play it, it completely changed. My perception of the piece is totally different. Of course, I'm now 50 years old, not 30. I've traveled my own musical path and musical development, and
with so many new experiences.
With so many also life experiences, but also musical experiences. And so the whole perception of the piece has changed dramatically for me. So it's really absolutely wonderful to experience it with such a fine orchestra. Now it's called the Jaguar Shanghai Symphony Concert Hall, but I remember falling in love immediately with this concert hall. It's so special, the sound, and I think because it's not such a huge concert hall in size, it is perfect for such an intimate piece like the Berg Concerto.
When you talk about this piece, I feel that I'm interviewing with a conductor, not a violinist. You said right now you are doing more conducting. How many part of your work time will put on conducting?
So I think from the 120, 130 concerts that I do each season, it's 70% conducting.
70%?
70, it really shifted. I started conducting 20 years ago. Not conducting, I started studying conducting. It was very important for me not to, let's say, just because I played for many, many years with wonderful orchestras. I was so lucky at a very young age. I was 13. But that does not qualify me. I strongly believe it does not qualify me to step in front of an orchestra as a conductor, only because I have played with great conductors and with great orchestras. So I decided very consciously, and that was really 20 years ago, when I was around 30 years old, maybe 32, that conducting is a language that has to be learned in the same way that an instrument has to be learned. It's a completely different profession. And yes, of course, it's also music. It has everything to do with music and everything that you need to know to be an accomplished and a serious conductor. Then if the people like it or not, that's another story. But to be qualified to step in front of these incredible musicians, and not just here in Shanghai, but everywhere in the world. The musicians, my father himself played all his life in an orchestra in Vienna, last stand cello. I was such respect for my father as a musician, and so naturally I was raised to respect every musician of the orchestra, and that helped me very, very much, because you know, being always the soloist and standing in front of a big orchestra, often maybe there is the danger not to realize that each of these musicians, they also dedicated all their life to the instrument and to music. And I was very lucky because I had great guidance. My mother studied conducting in Leningrad. At that time it was called Leningrad, now it's St. Petersburg. At the conservatory, she studied choir conducting, but together with Simeon Bichkov, with Maris Jansons. Maris Jansons became a very, very dear friend of my parents when they were teenagers. And when Maris started to come to Vienna, not to conduct Vienna Philharmonic, but to conduct the fourth orchestra, let's say, from the hierarchy, the fourth orchestra, which was my father's orchestra. He would always stay in our home.
Oh.
Because nobody was paying hotel or anything like this. So I grew up with Maris Jansons like a second father. But the friendship was a personal friendship and then developed into a musical friendship. And Maris Jansons was the person to tell me, when I asked him, I said, I want to start conducting. He said, I strongly advise you to have a teacher and to learn it like a lexicon, you know, from A
So did he
to Z.
Did he introduce
In the beginning, I asked him, I said, are you going to teach me?
Yeah.
He said, no. I said,
Okay.
why?
Yeah. It's too busy.
I am so busy,
Yeah.
and you don't need me. I don't have the time. Plus, you don't need somebody that is never there. You need somebody who is there all the time.
Okay.
I said, okay, so who should I take lessons? And he said, you will not like my answer.
Who?
There is only one person that I trust.
Okay.
I said, okay, so tell me, who is it? He said, your mother.
Ah.
Because she studied
Yeah,
conducting,
yeah.
and she will be wonderful.
They're fellow
I
students.
said, but my mother, she taught me how to hold the spoon, how to have manners, and I don't want to again go back to my mother.
So she's strict, right?
He said, do what you want, but I don't want to hear about your conducting for the next 5 years.
Okay.
He said, and after 5 years, your mother should call me and tell me how you are doing. And then we will continue to talk. So I never spoke about the conducting whenever we would play together. He did not ask me, and I didn't say nothing. I went to my mother. I said, okay, will you give me one lesson?
Okay.
And I was shocked. I said, wow, this is amazing. She really knows. So I asked for a second lesson.
Did you ever see her conducting before this?
No.
Never.
No.
So you
I
don't
never
know
believed it.
how
She
good
told me that she
okay.
graduated, but the funny thing was, whenever Maris was coming to Vienna to conduct my father's orchestra, then the radio orchestra, then the Vienna Symphony, and then the Vienna Philharmonic, every time he would visit Vienna, my mother had to sit at every rehearsal and then tell him everything what he did wrong.
Oh, okay.
Even when he was already a legendary conductor and musician, when he was already a god, he only trusted my mother.
Yeah.
He said, so how was my upbeat? How was this?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me the technique and this and all. And so this I saw. And yeah, I took lessons.
So you first time experienced how good she is.
That's why I say I was so shocked. And so we continued the lessons with my mother. And then after 5 years, we showed Maris different videos. And he said, you need to continue. And from now, we're going to meet regularly. And you will have access to all my library. And you will come to Amsterdam, to Munich, wherever I am. And I will always take 2 or 3 days. And that's what he did. Talk, and then with the score, with the video. And the same with Maestro Daniele Gatti. So I had these 2 great conductors, they took me under their wings. And yeah, I was very, very lucky. But still, violin is very important. These 30%, even though it's just 30%, they're very, very important to me. But of course, I have 2 music director positions as a conductor and a principal guest position, and a lot of guest conducting. So the big focus is on conducting, but I still practice every day.